And welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another episode of the Unbreakable Podcast Network. It has been a couple weeks. How's it going, Josie?
It's been busy. It's been kind of
Yeah,
nonstop since the book came out, which is why the podcast has been a little sporadic.
yeah,
I
and
am starting to reach out to people, so we will have some guests on here too. Storytime was
yeah,
a hit, though.
yeah. Storytime was
Yeah,
great. That was a good one. And it was all based off of listener questions. So,
yeah.
we want to keep those coming back. And actually, we have a really great listener question today. But before we get into that, we're going to meander a little bit. We've got a little bit of structure today, a little bit of structure. Oof,
Hard to
oof,
believe. I
hard to
know.
believe. Um, one thing I do want to point out first is I'm wearing this beautiful this ring, and I'll hold it up to the camera. You should be able to see
Ooh,
it.
that is
So it's
nice.
all that gold. I don't know if I wrote
Is
about
that a
it in
ram?
Unbreakable. It is. It's a ram with ruby
Ah,
eyes. And
dang.
yeah, it's got so much energy. It was my dad's ring. And so he had three rings that he wore. He had this one that was he had his wedding ring, which was made out of a bunch of gold nuggets that he got for selling a truck. The story's in the book.
Ah,
Um, the other one was just a big giant raw nugget that looked like a heart. And he had it
that's
melded
cool.
onto a shank. Absolutely gorgeous. Probably worth an absolute mint with the price of gold. And mine is the ram's head. I was there on the Alaska Highway when Mr. Ron Hurry, that my dad's jeweler, made this for him. And
Wow.
it was weird because on Saturday I was getting ready for the fundraiser for the football team. And um something just called me to start wearing it. And so I
Hmm,
put it on and I wore it. And it was crazy because I haven't worn it yet. It's the first time I've worn it. He passed away almost 6 years ago. And it sat
damn.
in a jewelry box. And I thought to myself, it doesn't feel like that long. And so I was like, no, I'm gonna put it on and start wearing it. But there was one point on Saturday night after I got home and I was still wearing it, and I was like, I need to take this ring off. Like the energy was just pulsing through my whole system. And so I took this ring off and I set it down on my counter, and I just felt like it, just like calm. It was so weird. It was so weird,
Hmm.
man. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to show it off because, we always say, people buy things for special occasions. They do things for special occasions. And it's like, wear the ring, drink the wine,
Uh,
wear the dress. Don't be
yeah.
ashamed of your body. Like, I mean, there's just so many different things. Also, I've never seen she was a size 4 on anybody's tombstone before.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
you know, and, and, and again, I've never seen a hearse being followed by a U-Haul. Enjoy the dinner, enjoy the wine, spend the money, do the
Yeah.
things,
Get the
right?
dress.
Get the dress.
I
Yeah,
mean, and there's the part of me, the poor kid in me, that's like, well, I got my 5 t-shirts that I'm going to wear to the ground. I
that's
have
right.
my favorite hoodies. I have my dress up pants. I have a few dress up shirts. And then I'm good. As long as there's
Yep.
no holes in my sock, I'm fine. So learning to just be like, you know what? I understand that you just want to maybe only wear it once. Just do it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
maybe take some stuff to Goodwill afterwards, to make up for it. But again, like you said, just do the thing. Wear the
just do the
dress.
thing.
Who
Wear the
cares
ring.
what you look like? You feel good. Just do it.
That's it. That's it. Well,
Yeah.
and one of the things that I was really like not worried about, but one of the things that I kind of was reluctant was that I don't wear a lot of yellow gold. And trust me, I
Mm,
have a lot of yellow gold and I don't wear it because I prefer white gold.
right.
And I prefer the silvery look, right? And the
Yeah.
thing is
I'm also a fan.
coming from the Yukon, yellow gold, that's it's a
Yeah.
lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And so like I have a ton of yellow gold, like the same canister of nuggets that my dad made his wedding ring out of. He made my sister and I each a ring, and it is the ugliest ring I own. It's my ugliest piece of jewelry next to my gold nugget letters. He got each of us a gold nugget letter for our 25th birthdays. And I got one for
Oh,
my 24th birthday because that's when I had the baby. But then I also got a
right.
second one when I turned 25. So I actually have two gold nugget Ks. And they're like, it's literally my initial in cursive. made out of gold
Mhm.
nuggets. Like, so it's a very bizarre thing, but yeah. So wear the ring. It doesn't matter if it's yellow and goes with the whatever. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's the
It's
feeling
powerful.
behind it.
Yeah. So I'm wearing this giant ring, and the thing was, is he had 4 of them, and then he had others on his other hand. Like, just
That'd be
you
a
can
little
take the
intimidating.
yeah, you can take
Yeah.
the old gold miner out of the territory, but you can't take the territory out of the old gold miner.
Yeah. That's
Crazy.
too cute.
So we have a couple of fun things. So what I've been doing is I've been like I'm a big fan of little games, and so whenever I see them, I pick them up and I use them for my team meetings at work, and I use them with my family. And so we have 3 or 4 different card things that we're gonna do for the podcast today, just to try and keep it interesting. And then we also have a listener question that is really interesting because it comes into very directly into a chapter of the book. And I think it's something that a lot of people are kind of feeling right now because our world is a complete shit show. It's a
Mhm.
shit show out there, and if you're feeling the energy of that shit show, we feel you. So let's have a little fun. Actually, there's 2 would you rathers. Let's have some fun with this. Okay.
All right.
Would you rather? Would you rather? And we love to hear from our listeners and our viewers. So drop a comment on the YouTube or send it to us in a message. Would you rather have a pet dragon or a pet dinosaur?
Mm. See, I like to think my bearded dragon is both,
Oh,
but
this
I
is
think
true.
dinosaur.
Oh, Dorito. We
I
haven't
like
seen
to
a
be a
lot of
little bit
Dorito.
destructive, but also cool as hell.
Oh, I'm 100% Team Dragon. I wanna
Yeah?
burn this establishment down right now, man. Like, I am just furious. And we'll talk a
Yeah,
little
you
bit about it a little later on. The feral woman in me is like, she
breaking
is
out.
yeah, she's fiery.
For the
Okay, so
people
then
that
I
know
guess
Game of Thrones, do you know Game of Thrones?
a little bit. I did a little bit of the Game of
Okay.
Thrones. It was a little violent for my liking. Like, there was just a lot of murder and I was like some beheading, and I was like, "Ugh." It's not that I'm a delicate little flower. It's just kind of like, I
It
gotta
was
pick
a
and choose
lot.
what I consume. It was a lot. It was a lot. I read the first book, and by read the first book, I listened to all 30 hours of it.
Yeah, it was huge. But the show, there's a Targaryen, and she's just feral
Yeah.
woman to a T. So
Yes.
it's
I
your turn for the Game of Thrones nerds that are out there to be a Targaryen, I guess.
I believe you are right. I know exactly who she is. I know where her origin was, and I can see why
Mm-hmm.
she wants to burn the world down. I
Yeah, I
would
can't say I blame her.
No, 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 and I kind of feel some of that vibe, like, that she carries with her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, my feral woman is a lot to control right now. I feel like I'm sitting in a space of must have emotional regulation 100% of the time, or serious consequences will follow, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where we are. So, would you rather always wear a cape during the day or wear sunglasses at night?
I think I'd go with the cape.
Me too.
I'm blind as it is, and anything else that would screw with my vision. But a cape during the day, everything you do is just going to feel like you're a superhero. So
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
I'd go with
I
the
have a
cape.
cape. I have a cape. I will be smoothing it out and wearing it in a couple of weeks at Odafest here in Calgary. So
Oh,
for those of you who are local, come find me. Nana Shimura. That's me.
you're not
And
going to Comic Con?
no, I'm not going to Comic Con. Like, it's a very expensive for like 3 days, 4
Yeah,
days. You can't buy it's like a Thursday ticket, a Friday ticket, a Saturday ticket, a Sunday ticket. You can't just go like Friday to Sunday. You can't do
I
Saturday.
know.
You know what I mean? And so it's just for me, it's just not worth it.
All the years I've been in Calgary, I've never stepped foot in the Calgary Comic Con. But I am going to the parade because there's a little baby this year
Mm,
that's uh
baby needs to go
but
to the
well,
parade.
this will come out and people will listen, but my bestie is dressing up as Elle from Stranger Things and the baby will be the Eggo box.
That's
So
hilarious.
I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with that. I'll even help you
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah. Totally cool.
But
Totally
the
cool.
Comic Con thing, yeah. I don't know if I want to spend $40, even though there's
That's
people I would like to see.
yeah.
Meh.
I had a movie marathon with my daughter a couple of weeks ago, and we watched a lot of the Twilight, but they're not there this year. They
Oh,
were there
nice.
last year, and and then I had a whole bunch of dreams about it, and I was like, I'll just
Yeah,
stick
the
to Family
sparkly
Feud before bed."
vampires?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, come on, who doesn't want a love story like that?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so this is now we're going to switch gears and go to debatable. And debatable, I picked this up in London, and it's just these little tiny cards, and it's actually a game. I don't know how to play it. I don't care. There's a little game thing in it, and this is what the box looks like. So it's debatable, right?
Ooh,
That's going to look backwards to you because we're going to flip my face because otherwise, come
that's
on.
how we do.
It is how we do. Okay, so bed and breakfast, romantic and cozy, or miserable and awkward?
Oh, no, awkward.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Could you imagine that? Someone else's mom making you breakfast and you don't even know her
No,
last name? "Hi,
I like to
guys. I
make my
made you
own
some
food,
tea." Yeah,
and
people don't
I
touch my
also,
shit.
if I want people to make me food, I'll go to a restaurant. I
Absolutely.
just,
You know,
yeah.
funny, I don't let anybody cook for me, and when Erin and I got together, her family was very like, "Oh, we'll take care of you, and we'll do this," and I was like, I'm
Hmm.
competing in a couple of weeks or months or whatever it
Yeah.
was, and I'm not interested in you cooking my food." And so at first her mom was like, "Oh." And I was like, "No, no, it's fine. I'll make my own food." Because literally it's like tablespoons of margarine and eggs floating inside of them to cook it. And that's fine, to each their own. It just doesn't really work for me, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember this time. So Aaron's dad had dementia, and bless him, he was just the sweetest little thing until the day he passed away. And my favorite story was her mom had made potatoes, and we were having a family cookout. And her dad was on the grill as usual. Like he cooked until almost the very end. And so
Oh,
she
wow.
brought him this big mixing bowl because Aaron's got a big family. And so her mom brings him this big bowl of foil wrapped potatoes. And she had taken the potatoes and rubbed them with oil and then sprinkled sea salt on them to kind of
Mm.
give them some flavor. Very good, delicious. And the reason I know this is because mine was not prepared like that. And she wrote my name, Kate, in Sharpie on the outside of the tinfoil. Well, we then proceed to grill the potatoes, and I went over to kind of check and see and make sure things were going well with dad. And oh, I go over there and he's got the tongs and he's panicked and he's flipping all these potatoes and he starts pulling them off and he's panicked and he looks at me and he goes, "It burnt off." My name had burnt off. And I looked at him and I said, "We don't have to tell anybody. It's our little secret." He's terrified because she made very, very clear this is Kate's potato. It doesn't have any oil in it. It is something that Kate can eat without consequence, kind of thing. It is your job to make sure this potato gets cooked well for Kate. And the poor little bastard was like, he was just like, "It's gone." He looks at me and he's like,
It's
"Your name,
over. It's
it's
done.
gone. It's done. We should leave right now."
Yeah,
And
life or death here.
yeah, I was like, nobody ever needs to know. I did not tell her that that happened until after he passed away. I let him take it to his grave.
Oh, that's too funny.
So yeah, miserable and awkward. We were not interested. Okay,
Mm-mm.
so this is a good one. Couples who share an email address, romantic or psychotic?
Psychotic.
I agree.
110%.
I agree.
That's a boundary that just,
Yeah,
no. Same
yeah.
with the people sharing Facebook accounts. I'm not
Weird.
a huge fan of that either.
No, that's weird.
Mm.
I mean, I get it when they're like in the boomer era
Oh, yeah.
because like, I think it's
It
like
takes two of them to
I
figure
draw
it
the
out.
I yeah, I draw the line at the boomers, right? Like,
Yeah.
because like my in-laws shared one forever, and it was like, you know, now whenever I see like their names are Pat and Ron, and it was just Pat Ron, and
Yeah.
like literally that was one word, and then their last name, and so whenever I see a bottle of Patron, I call it Pat Ron because
Uh,
yeah, we're gonna drink the Pat Ron. Okay, this one's really special because we know somebody. So, which was a greater gift to humanity, Dr. Ruth or Dr. Scholes?
I'm going with Dr. Ruth.
I am going with Dr. Ruth as well because bless that human. Not only is she just an amazing humanitarian, but for anybody who has been following our beautiful, amazing, brilliant, passionate, compassionate Dr. Ruth, you would have seen that she was recently just over in Gaza performing
Mhm.
neurological and other surgeries for families in need and taking care of it. So, not just, this is a woman who brings light to things that people want to turn away from. And she does it with love and compassion. And then she puts herself on a plane and ends up in Gaza,
Yeah.
in bombed out hospitals, in bombed out coffee shops, receiving gifts from these amazing human beings. These people are people who have starved, who've seen
Yeah.
people die of malnourishment, and they're making tea and dinner to take care of our beautiful, amazing, brilliant, loving, peaceful Dr.
She's just
Ruth.
a light. The
Yeah,
first time I had met her, when we had her on the podcast, and I'll even link the old episode to there because she talks about a lot of great things there too.
yeah,
But she gets on the screen and it was just like, this isn't just a doctor.
yeah,
It's, a lifesaver, an actual lifesaver. And she's doing it for the humanity part, not the paycheck or the
yeah.
gloat or all that. She's just so down to earth.
Yeah,
I
and
love her.
she's hilarious. She's
Yeah.
hilarious and amazing. And you know what else? She comes from a family of people like her. Ruth is not an anomaly in her ecosystem. The
Yeah,
people
that's
she has
rare.
the people who she's surrounded with, the people who she came from, her sisters, like, just bless them all. And, so the greater gift to humanity, Dr. Scholl's is nice, but Dr. Ruth is amazing. And I know
Mhm.
that she'll see this. And Ruthie, we absolutely love you. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm just, oof, if I talk too much more about you, I'm going to cry. These eyelashes are going to fall off. Nobody's going to be able to see my eyes because they're two little pee holes in a snowbank. Thanks, Dad.
And I can't edit
Um,
that.
no, you cannot edit that. You'll just have to put like an emoji over my face. But
Just
Dr.
a happy
Ruth,
face over it.
yeah, with some little tears because we love Dr. Ruth.
We do.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to switch gears now. You guys keeping up with us back home or at home? Okay. So
Or
now
anywhere.
we're
I
going to
don't
move
know.
into a deck on self reflection. So, a group that I followed for a number of years, I've got a number of card decks from them. And these are really fantastic. And I would encourage our listeners, I'm not sponsored, not yet. Uh, but I'm a big fan. I use these in my coaching practice when it comes to individuals, or maybe even when with an executive and that executive is looking to break through. It's a non-traditional way, but there's two decks that I really like to use with individuals. One is the self-reflection edition, and the other one is the self-love edition. And
Mm,
you can get them both on we're not really strangers.com, I think. Um, they also have one for couples and for people getting to know each other, like, friend groups and
I
stuff like
like those
that. So
ones.
those are really neat. Actually, I've got the other, it's a really big box. It's got three different phases to it.
Mm,
Unfortunately, it is underneath it's underneath something on my shelf, a little diffuser. It just,
eh,
it
it
elevates the
holds the
scent.
diffuser up. It's
It
fine.
holds the diffuser up. Yeah. I got to find a way to make all this stuff in my office work. So, okay. So we have three questions. We've got two from the self love and one from the self reflection. And this is one where I want us to drop this on a sticker on Instagram. I also want us to drop the question in our comment section. You don't have to comment, but I want you to think about it if you're
Mhm.
listening to this. What insecurity has been holding me back the most?
Mm,
Just give that some thought. I mean, I think when we're sitting at the intersection in the world where we are right now, where everything feels uncomfortable, where there's an incredible degree of uncertainty. I mean, how many times did we hear that? These are uncertain times during COVID.
mhm.
I
It's a
mean,
daily thing.
now it's like it's crazy. And so the things that are normally sitting in the back where we're not actually thinking about them or talking about them or acknowledging them because maybe we would have been able to cope through that. Well, now we're seeing like some really crazy instability at the world stage. We're seeing shipping lines being closed. We're seeing wars
Mhm.
being started. We're seeing escalations happening. We're seeing complete violations of the freedoms that we have been conditioned and grown to have, that
Yeah.
has to wake
Ripped
something
away.
up for people. Yeah. So what do you find is waking up in you in that space?
Mm, not that I think I need to help everything, but I think I don't know if it's an insecurity. It puts a wall and makes me think about it even more when I'm like, I can't do anything to help any of this,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll meet someone that's, come from a war-torn country and hearing their stories. And I'm like, I have nothing to offer you other than I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're safe, but I can't fix anything. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how I would frame that as an insecurity, but
That's a
that's
lack of
kind of where I'm
empowerment.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's it. It's like I
Yeah.
want to build them up, but I have no words anymore for anybody. It's like you talk about the wars that have been started even in the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The ridiculousness of what's going on. I have 0 words, 0 things to offer. I had a friend in New Brunswick actually that was over in Iran, and wasn't allowed to get on a plane to get out of there.
What? Why?
No, although I will give it to, I believe it was WestJet that got her a plane to bring her back home, and she, came home back or went back home last week. But it's just like, I don't have any words to offer you. You're stuck in a country that is just there's bombings happening everywhere. You're not from there. Like, you're from a little small ass town in the east coast of Canada, and she was there for research. But then all these things happened and they shut down the airports. They shut off all the flights coming in and out. And I'm like, I have nothing to offer you other than, I'll send you a message here and there to make sure you're still alive and hope that you get
Mm-hmm.
home. And WestJet, as much as they can be a pain in the ass, they were the ones that actually
That's
flew a
great.
plane into there, picked her up, brought her back to New Brunswick where she's, safe and sound. But it's not just the people in those countries anymore that are affected. It's everyone around here has
Mm-hmm.
knows someone that's being affected by the that's going on,
Yeah.
not just the wars, just like you said, the show of the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone is just don't know what to do, and I'm like, I don't know the words to say anymore.
Yeah. It's like at some point I'm like, man, when are the adults coming back?
Right?
I'm so
Like I feel like
confused.
a little kid
Where
right
did all the
now.
adults go? The boomers were
Yeah.
so good for so long, and then they just kind of started passing away and leaving, and
Yeah.
they're not like where are the boomers? I would like them in charge, please.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
I will
ones that are
fix your
capable.
technology. Just come
Yeah.
back.
Can the adults please come back? We're scared.
Yeah. We need an adulter adult.
Yes, Ruth calls them a premium adult. We need our premium
Ah,
adults. I am her premium adult, and that's great. But like, I need
but you
like,
need one now.
where did the premium adults from our generation go? Because,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's scary. And I think the thing for me is like the insecurities that I have that hold me back are the ones of um, pre-programming.
Mm,
Pre-programming. I'm too much. I'm too loud. I take up too much space. Tell me how you really feel. Oh, fuck, I
yeah.
hate that saying so much. Um, and and so for me, it's the fact it's perception. It's how people see me and whether or not I can actually show up authentically. I'm told I can, but I absolutely
Mhm.
cannot, and that's non-negotiable. I know I can't show up authentically because if I do,
You won't have a job.
it's yeah, there's all these different rules and subtexts, and so what it does
Mhm.
is I think it just feeds the triggers and it feeds the things and the unknowns, and I mean, like for me last week was just it was an awful week, and it was one of those weeks where I really had to stay focused on completing tasks and doing the right thing because there's so much going on around me that and of course we have the world events and we have all
Mhm.
these different types of things, and so it's just kind of like it was really really overwhelming, and I think we're about yay close to taking a vacation where it's like completely dialing it down and just taking the time away.
Shutting off.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where like Friday, I took half a day where I was completely offline because it's recognizing that. I think where
Mhm.
I'm very secure is recognizing that the opportunity exists and seeing the fact that I need to maybe sometimes step away, or I need to take time for myself, or I need to be silent, or I need to have rules about my social media. Like, I'm not being using social media unless I'm doing cardio right now,
Mhm.
right? Because otherwise it's too detrimental. Because for me, it's like I know I can't do anything about it, and much like you, it's like I can think about it and I can feel anxiety about it, and I can and but what is that doing for me? And how am I being a better contributor, or a better parent, or a better partner, or a better business leader when it all comes
And
down to it,
it's
right?
it's doing the opposite. And no matter how
Yeah.
much you try to avoid it, like I work in social media obviously, and I do the marketing and stuff like that. So I'm on different kinds of accounts daily.
Yeah.
And if I'm going through and I'm like, okay, I'll go on my personal one for, a few minutes a day, and I'm just be like, okay, I'm not going to come into anything bad. I'm just going to stop and look at, like, my friends' photos or a trip that someone's been on. But the algorithm, every four is an ad, or it's, a viral
Yeah.
video or something like that. And I'm like, I can't get away from it. So I
Yeah.
just don't do it anymore. I
I
don't
know.
do my
You
personal.
you can tell when I've been on social media because I pebble you and Britt
Yeah,
together.
no.
Like, I drop little things in and I'm just like, this
Brittany's
is
like,
so.
"Did you see Kate's video?" And I'm like, "I haven't opened my personal one yet today." And she's like, "Oh, well, it was funny." And I'm like, "Okay, well, in 3 to 5 business days, I'll get to it."
And probably a little inappropriate, because the inappropriate humor is finding me really well. And the thing too is about reels is, like, I do love pebbling, but it's like, okay, I
Mhm.
have to be super careful, because what you share with somebody is what comes back into your algorithm. So, like, dog videos galore. Wait for it. It's coming. The deluge of cat and dog videos. And I saw one the other day, and it was like an owl sitting crisscross applesauce, and somebody goes in the caption, it's like, there's always something with these MRFers. I'm like, yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, yeah. Those kind of videos? Sure.
Yeah, social media, it is, the Gen Zs have it right. They call it brain rot, or maybe that's Gen Alpha. I don't know. It's kind of like between the two of them, but
Mhm.
it really is. And what I've been doing, if anybody's looking for tips on how to disconnect and maintain that mental health and well being, I'm taking a lot of time and being outside a lot. I mean, now that I think we've got almost the last snowstorm out of the way, but like, doing 3 to 5 kilometers of walking a day, feeding my neurology. This week, my mindset work is to read. And
Mhm.
the reading might be out loud and into the Unbreakable audiobook, which I really need to finish. But, again, I look at it and I'm like, I'm not going to force myself to complete something on a false timeline that I created for myself and kill
Mhm.
myself doing it. Getting the book over the finish line, and published, and sending it out to people, and signing it and mailing it across borders, and around the country, and things like that. It's fabulous. It really is. It was one of the biggest achievements of my life, next to having my child. But I'm also not obligated to do
Yeah.
the next things, like, at this direct moment. And I'm being very gentle with myself, because one of the things that I've always struggled with is being all or
Or
nothing. And
nothing.
if you're not over here, well, you must not be committed. You're not really committed. But that's not the actual fact. I am committed, but I'm also
Mhm.
committed to my own mental well-being. I'm committed to my good sleep patterns. I'm really committed to my off season in bodybuilding, which is the best one I've ever had. Um,
Yeah.
I'm committed to my relationships. I'm committed, and so it's like there's only so many hours in the day where I'm awake. There's only so much time and motivation that I have. And when it really comes down to it, my discipline sometimes, and actually often in the past 2 weeks, has been what has gotten me through. It's not willpower. Willpower was dead
Yeah.
a long time ago. So,
Yeah. The all or nothing is a hard one to work through.
yeah,
And I mean,
yeah,
you could put that way back to, childhood things. If you didn't
yeah,
do all, you got nothing.
yeah,
So you keep yourself on those 2 pedestals, and if you're not doing one, like you said, you're doing the other.
yeah.
That
Well, and
is
I
not
think.
how it works.
But this is where the pendulum swing was a little much, right? Because when you think about the boomer mentality, it was do it right, and do it right the first time, or don't do it at all. Then when we had the millennials, your generation that came along, I
Mhm.
mean, you're kind of in the more elder
Yeah, I'm the in
generation.
between.
Yeah, that generation was Well, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Don't burn out. Oh, and so then there was no discipline or commitment to the end goal, right? And
Mhm.
so it's like you have to find that happy medium. And so I'm in that space where I'm finding that happy medium. I'm delivering and doing and behaving and acting in the way that I should be acting to fulfill my commitments. But at the same time, the things that aren't absolutely earth shattering, yeah, you guys just calm your tits a little bit. It'll be out in a little while.
Yeah.
I
I'll
promise I'll
get
get
there
it
when it
out.
gets there.
And I got a lot of people who are asking about it, and I love that, and I love the insatiable desire, and I can tell you that we are over halfway through recording it. So it's gonna come to fruition, and it's gonna be over the next couple of weeks. We'll wrap it up, get her done, and get it out to you guys
Yeah, we're
because
just kind of riding the wave right now.
I'm
It was a
equally as excited.
big thing when the book came out. That was
Yeah,
a
so yeah.
really big push,
Yep,
and it was kind of a sprint to the finish line, and then
yeah.
once we got to the finish line, it felt like we had another 5K to go
Oh,
before
feels like another
we were done.
marathon. It's another marathon
Yeah.
because then you're dealing with all the back end stuff. And I get people who are like, wow, great job on selling your book out. I'm like, print on demand. It's
Yeah.
not sold out.
Like,
So I don't know what's going
how
on
did that
there.
happen?
Right. And so it's like, it's all of these different things. And now there's a website revision. And at the end of this podcast, we'll talk to you guys about some of the stuff that we've got in the pipeline around the Unbreakable brand. It's super exciting, very
Mhm.
unique, and it's going to give people the opportunity to connect into businesses and do things that they've never done before. And we're going to tell you about that. But before we do that, let's get into these last two and then let's get into our listener question because I think there's a lot of opportunity here for us to support people in
Mhm.
the things that we're hearing from our listeners and in our travels.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the self love edition from We Are Not Really Strangers. What's a flaw I've learned to appreciate about myself over time?
Hmm.
It's a good one.
That is a good one.
This,
I'd have to say the care too much.
say more.
I used to kind of base my whole life on that. Like, I
Yeah.
had to care and then or pretend to care about all these things.
Yeah.
But I've learned to channel that into real things, real
Mm,
people, real relationships, real ventures. I put all my care into that now.
yeah.
And I really did think it was a flaw because a lot of things have come back on that, caring for the wrong person or
Mhm.
pouring my water into someone else's cup that did not deserve it. Now I kind of love
Yeah.
that flaw about myself. And I don't even know if I would consider it a flaw anymore because I'm very intentional of where I put my energy and my help. Or sometimes it's not even just help, it's a listening ear or
Yeah.
a shoulder they can cry on, that kind of stuff. So that's my flaw that I used to hate about myself, but I kind of love it now. Like
Yeah.
I'm very intentional and it feels nicer to be more intentional with it and to be known as, okay, most people meet me first and they're like, well, she's got a resting bitch face, very unapproachable. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to approach me. That's fine. But then I have the people that I don't know how many people came up to me at the fundraiser actually, and they're like, Kate's just talking you up over there, like nonstop good things about you. And she's like, I didn't realize you were that kind of person. And I'm like, because you didn't try to get to know me.
Yeah.
You seen the face, and
Mhm.
these are football ladies for the people that are listening that I'm talking about. They see me on a game field and in
That's it.
practices, and I
Yeah.
am there to do one thing, and that's to smash, get the ball, and
Turn it
to
over.
play football.
Yeah. Yeah.
So putting my care into the relationships outside of that, that's not, I think, on me anymore.
Mhm.
So I'm intentional. I've made some really good friends from the last year coming back. I also came back to, people I played with 13 years ago. So yeah,
Yeah. That's
that's where
good.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I think a flaw that I've learned to appreciate about myself is the gift of the gab. right?
Mm.
I don't think it's a flaw. The word flaw is also, it's in parentheses or in brackets rather. And I don't think that it's a flaw. I try really hard at everything I do. I don't think that's a flaw, but it's something that people have pointed out to me as being a flaw. And, one
Yes,
of the
being a
most,
tryhard's a bad thing.
oh, so bad. But it's interesting though, is like I feel like we're told things about ourselves as opposed to people trying to get to know who we are. And, it's the flaw part of who we are. And it's like, who gets to set those rules?
Mhm.
Right? Like who gets to say that if you're articulate and you enjoy a good conversation that you just talk too much and that's your flaw? I mean, although I will tell you, my mom is sending me out all my report cards. She found them as she's packing up to move, and she's downsizing significantly and moving to British Columbia here in the next couple of weeks. And she found all my report cards, and so my stepsister reached out to me via messenger the other day, and she was like, hey, do you want all these report cards? And I was like, sure do, because I know what they say. I know what they say. Kate is shit at
Wouldn't stop
math.
talking?
She never stops talking, and she's just a really nice person. Like, I guarantee you that's in there. And you know what? None of those things have changed. I'm a really nice person. I'm still really bad at math, and I still do the right thing, but I also really talk a lot. But you know what I've been able to do is I've been able to take my personality, and because I talk to anybody who looks at me in any way, shape, or form, and I will tell you, Gen Alpha, when you walk by me and I'm on the walking trail and you avert your eyes because you think I'm not going to talk to you because you're not looking at me, guess what? You're fucking wrong. I will talk
Mhm.
to you. In fact, now I'm going to start jumping in front of you. I'm going to start high-fiving you. I do that sometimes. It makes them
The
very
funny part
uncomfortable.
about you saying that is at the fundraiser, uh, my friend that wanted to meet you, he's like, "Well, can you get her attention?" I'm like, "Just fucking wave at her." I don't know. I'm like, "It's Kate.
She's
She's gonna talk to you." And he's like, "Well, I'm kind of nervous." Like, obviously he hears about like the podcast and the book, and he
Oh, he's
also bought
wonderful.
Unbreakable too and started to read through a little bit of it. And you just hear so many good things and like what you do and
Yeah.
what you do for work and you travel around. And he's like, she's a celebrity pretty much. I'm like, but she's also
Yeah.
just Kate. So
Yeah.
just wave your hand. And he's like, no, just get her attention. And that's when I
I know,
brought
and he
you
comes over
over.
and he was like, "Hi, I'm Andrew." And I was like, "It's great to
Yeah.
meet you." Right? Like, but it's interesting because one of the other girls there, Erin had brought her in to play with the team, and she's just a lovely human being, and she's a school teacher. And it
Mm,
was cool because we started talking, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the Unbreakable Pack is," and she's like, "Yeah, you wrote a book and that's amazing and you're this business person." And I was like, or no, she actually didn't know that that was my book. And we were talking, and then
mm,
I brought her one in because, Erin just really values her. And so, I put like
mhm.
a little inscription in it and I handed it to her, and she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my book." And she goes, "Okay, I'm sorry. You wrote a book as well." She goes, "Is there anything you don't do?" She's like, "You are a celebrity." And I'm like, "I'm not though. Like, I'm just a plain Jane lady who, operates under the guise of friends or strangers or just friends we haven't met yet." Right. You
Exactly.
know, I talk about my dad's golden retriever energy, and that is literally how we were raised, is
Yeah.
strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. I mean, I'm fairly certain that I should probably have been found in a ditch or something at some point,
Yeah,
but
yeah, same.
you know, but I mean, yeah, it's crazy when people place their perceptions and they project their insecurity on you as having a flaw, and
Yeah,
it's like, I it's not that I don't believe that I have areas to improve, because 100%, we're
everyone
human.
does.
We all do. We all do. And I actively work on those things every day. I'm a very reflective person. I take a lot of notes. I listen when people provide me with feedback, but then I also choose to either accept or reject it. And I can tell
Mhm.
you that if you're someone who I would never take if I don't respect you, I'm not
Yeah,
taking your
you
advice.
definitely not taking your advice.
Your feedback, gone. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
You can give it to me. I don't give a You just blow out your ass. Like, I don't care.
Mhm.
And, you know, but the thing is what I find happens to me far more often than people realize is that people treat my kindness as either weakness
Mhm.
or or they don't believe that I'm as smart as I am.
Yep.
And I can assure you that when I think about the three personalities that live inside of me, the feral, wise, wild woman, she's really smart. She's really calculating, and she's really kind of mean. And like, I have to really think about some of the things that I say before I say them. And it's really interesting. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I don't know if he watches the podcast or listens, but I know he follows the exploits online. Um, but we were talking and we were just texting back and forth. How are your kids? How is your wife? How's your mom doing? She's, going through some stuff right now. Um, and we're getting caught up on like what he's doing for work and maybe walking down the reminiscing path a little bit. And we start
Right.
talking about like minor sports, and we start to talk about sports organizations and how they're always run by these really bizarre people who have the craziest notion of how they think they should run. And like, what I don't understand about like the minor sport or like the rec sport is it's like these weird little fiefdoms, and you're not being paid for it. You're not being recognized for it, but you want to go in there and you want to make it as difficult as possible for certain people
Mhm.
and certain groups because you just don't like them or don't get along with them or whatever. And that to me is just such a waste of a good life. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what we were talking about because he was experiencing that with hockey in his community with his
Mm.
kids. So he's tugged the kids out and they're now playing a different sport. It's great. And so I just said, like, I had one instance where I held back until I just couldn't anymore. And even when I didn't, like when I was like about to like lose my mind, I still wrote it out, slept on it, shared it with Erin. I was like, this is what I'm going to send. And she was like, I think it's really harsh. And I was like, okay, that's cute. I'm glad that you think it's harsh, but that's fine. That's the intent. But it wasn't
Mhm.
mean. I didn't use a curse word. I was not ignorant. I wasn't name calling, nothing like that.
No.
That's not in my ethos. It's not who I am. So I sat on it and I sat on it and I sat on it. And finally, there was a straw that broke the camel's back. And so I went copy, paste, send. And that was it. And the end of that message was I wish you nothing but the best. You have
Yeah.
every opportunity to reach out to me if you ever want to, but don't ever expect a response back because you are no longer a participant in my life. Right? I know what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
Right? And so we were talking about that, and he said to me, he goes, "I am scared absolute shitless of dark Kate." He's like, "That side of you," he's like, well, because he worked with an organization, and that organization treated me so disgusting. Like
Mhm.
they treated me very different because I was a female. They treated me very differently because of the practice that I have. People don't take my practice seriously until all their shit starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's okay,
Then they're
that's
like,
on
"Oh,
them.
maybe she has a point."
Weird. And
Ugh.
and and this organization was allowing their other male leaders to treat me in a way that was unacceptable to me. And so I said, "Cool. I'm just gonna take my ball and I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna pack all my shit up and I'm just gonna
Mhm.
go find another job." Because you know what? You know what we say in the patch out here? I was looking for a job when I found this one. And so I did. And I had no insight to what happened in that company afterwards because when I'm done, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
I don't look to be vindictive or nasty or cruel or unreasonable. Like I just when I'm done,
Yeah.
ties cut
Your
it off
job's
and
done.
be move on. Well, the company never recovered. They had
Weird.
three contracts that signed because of the services that I was providing out of my area of the business. And I had no idea that my departure left that company dead in the water. And I was like, well, you know what? Meet the feral woman. I'm
Yeah.
not like you're only going to take so much and then the straw is going to break and then the game is over.
Yeah.
Life is far too short to sit in a space where you are tolerated and not valued.
Mhm.
And so, those are the kinds of things that come back and they trigger those flaws inside of me. So maybe that's my flaw. My flaw is I'm too passionate.
That's like the same as saying, "Oh, you're too caring, you're too sensitive, you
Yeah.
talk too much." They're all
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
I think
Shut up
they're
and sit down.
superpowers for a lot of people,
Yeah,
so
agreed. Yeah. It's you
mhm.
being told to shut up and sit down. Be in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's wind this down before we get into our listener question. And let's switch the direction
Sure.
and ask who's done a great job at loving me? right? We don't need to talk about it per se on the podcast, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you, Josie, and I'm going to challenge our listeners and our viewers to send a message to that person who's done a great job at loving you and just tell them, you've done a great job loving me. I
Hmm.
appreciate
I mean, I
it.
will full out shout out
Yeah.
who has done a great job, and that would be my aunt in New Brunswick. She's like
Uh,
14 years in difference, so
yeah.
always like the older sister. But no matter how bad of this shit that I've done or got in trouble or whatever part in my life, that woman has never stopped loving me
That's
and
amazing.
showing that she
Yeah.
loves me, or she's always got my back, or she's fully ready to call me out on
Yeah.
my shit and tell me how to fix it or give,
It's amazing.
the advice. And I can call her up, it's 3 hours time difference from where I am to where she is. I could call her at 4 in the morning and just be like, oh, I did this thing, or I'm stuck in a thought loop. And she will always pick up the phone. So if I had
Amazing.
to put the epitome of, I think she's my like Nan reincarnated because it was her
Oh,
mother that
yeah.
pretty much raised me. She's carried all that through. And there was never a day that I was like, does she even like me? Let alone, love me? She's a badass, and she'd probably make people cower more than apparently my resting bitch face does. But she's also the one that taught me how to have a backbone and
Yeah.
fight for what I want. So
It's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
there's her shout out. I'll send her a message too, though, and
Send her a message.
this part
She
of the
deserves to hear
podcast.
from you. And send her this
Yeah,
part of the podcast. Chip it out. Make a little
yeah,
video for her. Send it over. Auntie, we love you. And we
I
value the
do.
contribution you've made to Josephine to get her to this point in
Oh, you
her.
did not. Am I in trouble?
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
I've been good, okay? Might not have been
Yeah.
the best teenager, but
Oh,
once I
gosh.
hit 18, I was like, "Oh, no, I wanna travel, so I should probably
Yeah.
calm my shit a little bit."
That's right. That's right. So, okay, well, hit me with our listener question. You had a really great question, and I think we've got some
Mm.
solutions coming out of good old Unbreakable here.
Uh, so for the ones that have listened to the podcast, we both kinda had a crazy past. So a conversation had come up, this weekend, and I was asked, "At what point do you stop blaming your past and you kinda start taking responsibility for who you are now?"
Mm.
Which is a tough one.
Yes, the Unbreakable textbook, we shall say.
Yes.
Okay. So for this question, I would direct to section 3, The Science of How We Rise, and specifically chapter 23. And when we find ourselves questioning the people around us, or maybe even only ourselves, we're looking at it through the lens of two different versions of psychology, or two different threads of psychology, two different thought processes. And when we think about Sigmund Freud said, yes, you are the sum of all of your experiences. You are who you are because of what you've experienced. And he's not wrong. 100%.
Mhm.
That is exactly what it is. It defines who we are. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's a great place to sit and settle. I am just this way. This is who I am, and you need to be okay with that. And the reality is it's okay for them to want to be that person and to sit in
Mhm.
that space. And that is a prerogative. That's a choice. It is my choice to say that unhealed version of you that just says, these are the things I've experienced and this is where I'm going to sit. I have a choice as to whether I'm going to tolerate that or accept that as something that either complements or doesn't complement who I am as a person and where I want to go in my life. And so
Mhm.
that crossroads happens when you take your healing to another level and you start to acknowledge the things that you've experienced. And then you say, okay, but what did Adler tell you? And Adler tells you that if you take those things and you look at them and you examine them, you then get the choice on how you get to use them. Look,
Mhm.
if you pick up this book, you're going to read a lot of things that I've personally experienced. You're going to read about cancer. You're going to read about homelessness. You're going to read about abandonment. You're going to read about assault. You're going to read about being mistreated in the boardroom. You'll read about a lot of things that are really uncomfortable things to experience. And most certainly those things, I sat with them and I held them and I identified with them, and they were my identity for a period of time in my life. And then all of a sudden, something like a switch flipped. And it was no longer about I'm justifying it and I am this way and I'm proud to be standing on this rubble. No, 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 no. Ultimately, I'm the one who's responsible to fix my foundation. And
Mhm.
so this is where Adler becomes such a key teacher, because Adler teaches us that we get to choose how to use what we've experienced. And what I have done is I've taken those experiences and I've alchemized them. I've turned them into something far greater than myself. I've written a book with tips and tools that you get to take away to be able to do the same. But again, that's
Mhm.
also a choice, and not everybody's ready for that. Not everybody wants that, and that's okay. But the choice that you make by choosing to stay in a Freudian mind and staying there is you may be making the decision on jobs, friends, colleagues, partners, opportunities, experiences, all of those different things. Because that part of you, we get it. That is who you are.
Mhm.
But maybe you're not very fun at parties because of how you are. And
Right.
that's okay, but that's a choice, right? And so when we think about the switch flipping, a lot of times what that there's an event, there's a
Yeah.
catalyst to that, right? Where somebody says, "I don't want to be your friend anymore," or they stop picking up the phone. I have a whole section in there about the grief of growth. And when I think about the grief of growth, and I think about some of the people that I chose not to take into the next iteration of who I am as a person, it was because they were so hung up on the things they had experienced in life instead of finding a pathway on how to use them to either improve themselves or improve the world around them. I mean, listen,
Mhm.
you know who the ultimate reason, the ultimate person that I would look to in this case is Dr. Ruth.
Yeah.
Not to suggest that she's had, like, a whole bunch of trauma or anything, because I don't know that full backstory of her. But what I do recognize is
But
that
she walks into it.
she walks into it and she has power and privilege as a white, highly educated female from Canada. And she can
Mhm.
take that and she can turn it into something that actually enables and fuels and takes care of other people in this world. Right. And certainly, I would also suggest that she and we talked about this on her podcast. When we met, she was going through a very difficult period of time. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
But because of who she is and the person that she wants to be and how she wants to show up in the world, she doesn't let those things hold her back, right?
Yeah.
And so we are the authors of our own story. And it's either you have a book that's half full and then a half a book of blank pages, or you hit that point and you say, okay, what's the new story that I'm going to write?
Yeah. And it's lonely
It
when
is.
you do start to do that,
It's very lonely.
but the growth afterwards, so much nicer. And I can't say that I've been doing this for years
Hmm.
because I've had, a pretty traumatic upbringing, not just in my childhood years, but my early 20s, my early 30s. Not that I want to start aging myself, but it was an automatic thing being like, well, this is how I was raised,
Yeah.
or it's because ABC happened that XYZ is now happening. But you will eventually hit that point where it's like, okay, but XYZ doesn't need to happen. What about DEF? Like, you have so many other choices to do
Hmm.
whatever you want with ABC. It's still going to be, a trauma thing in there. It might create a trigger, but it's the growth that kind of needs to happen before that. And it's hard to explain to people that it's going to hurt to not be the way you are anymore, because, like you said, that is the foundation we were built on. We didn't get a choice in how that happened,
No, no.
but we get a choice on how we want to build on that
Bingo.
foundation. And people
Absolutely.
get stuck at the foundation and they're like, okay, I'm done. But you can build a mansion, you can build a house, you can build a castle on that foundation. So depends
Get
what you do
after it.
with it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I think the one thing too, and what you'll read about in section 3 is also the neuroscience, right? And the neuroscience is, we've got our series on the reticular activating system. That
Mhm.
is a really powerful, powerful tool. But when we start to think about triggers and what they actually do to us, like I said, last week was a really crazy week in the world. And, there were things that were triggering me. And the thing is that our brain is a prediction machine. Neurology is prediction. This as as they say it on my master class that I take on neurology, this 3-pound piece of meat in our skull, it dictates everything to us. And it also doesn't understand when something is different, when a circumstance is
Mhm.
different, when you might be safe. So going out and doing something that is anxiety inducing or something that makes you feel uncomfortable or having that really hard conversation with somebody when historically you've been afraid of conflict, what that does is it starts to create new pathways of behavior and it starts to rewire how the brain sees the trauma that you've experienced. So a
Mhm.
great example of this is somebody who has anxiety, social anxiety, going out into crowds makes them feel uncomfortable. Every time they go out into a crowd and every time they push themselves into a venue where they're not necessarily socially comfortable, but they're there, they're teaching their brain something else. And that limbic system responds to it. Don't get me wrong. The
Mhm.
body language of some of the people in the room on Saturday when we were at that event was bananas. And I pick up
Mhm.
on all of those things. The way somebody shakes their hand, the way somebody smiles or doesn't. Do they make eye contact with me? What is
Or
the
the
micro movements in the face? Yeah.
sitting there like that.
Well, but not even that. It's sitting there like this and not looking up and looking away. And
Mhm.
when you're talking to somebody, you can't make eye contact. And all of those things are tells, right? And so we start to see things like, in our case, we probably see more gravity defying, where we see arms going up and we do this and
Yeah.
lots of hand movements and stuff. But you see a lot of these different things. And so our body language is often dictated by the limbic part of the brain and the limbic system that tells us that what we've experienced is uncomfortable. So when you're
Mhm.
around somebody like who's an operator like me, I see those things and I see you. And so what it does is it allows me to meet you where you are as opposed to making you feel more uncomfortable. But you
Yeah.
have to be willing to come out of your house and have those conversations and be in the moment with me in order for me to be able to help you pave those pathways in a new way. Right. So it's just
Mhm.
like I could go on this topic for hours, but I think that gives us, gives our listener an opportunity to maybe take some things away and don't be afraid to reach out. Throw something into the
Yeah.
DMs, put something into our NGL link, and just say, hey, would love to have a conversation. I'm not above having a conversation. Listen, a phone call doesn't cost a thing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So no, but yeah, get into the book, get into chapter 23. The science behind how we rise is actually it's fantastic. We've got lots of different pieces in here, including like, abandonment and rejection and what that does to you and how it sits with you and how it forms and shapes every aspect of who you are. So yeah. And listeners, we have these, they're live, it's on Amazon, you can buy it direct from there, and we've got lots of good things. We've got gift cards on the
Yes.
website now, and there are actually coaching sessions, growth sessions that are available on the website as well. We do 30-minute, 60-minute growth sessions. Make sure you book yours. They're selling out very quickly, and
Yes.
so I think we only have a handful of spots left in that space. And let's leave folks with one more thing. We are working on a really exciting project right now, and Josie's got a lot of
Oh,
technology to work on in the background with this
I
one.
know, I'm excited.
Yeah. So for those of you who are looking to maybe pivot or make a change in your life, to find an internship, an opportunity for you to get involved in a different way of working or a different place to work, stay tuned. We've got something really, really cool coming through the Unbreakable website. We'll be sending some teasers out on that. But what it is it's an opportunity to help people make a change in their lives.
Mhm.
That being said, I will be very honest with you. It is going to be very difficult to get into. And so you're going to have to really show up and be ready to put your application together and, yeah, put some,
You gotta want to
put
want it.
some, You got to want it. It's a pretty exciting concept that's coming together. Can't give you too much more information quite yet, but stay tuned. We've got something coming, but it is something to help people pivot and make a difference in their own lives and to grow and to create connections in new spaces and new places. So all the
It's
goodness, all the
exciting
goodness.
times.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this was great. We look forward to sharing more with you guys. And as always, remember, protect your peace, chase your dreams, and stay unbreakable.